Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a nice 10-game Major League Baseball slate for you. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? I do not like this slate very much today. It is a big slate, and the way that this looks, so I do some background stuff where I check where I think that there's chalky teams are, and then the stackable teams, and then also like where the players come from that look the best. And today it's just all over the place. Like my chalky stacks are the or my favorite stacks are the Dodgers, Atlanta, San Diego, Chicago Cubs, Kansas City. But the stacks are really coming from, or the good plays are really coming from the Yankees, the Angels, uh, Arizona, St. Louis, which is a little surprising. And so it's just not a great slate from that perspective. Pitching is also very up in the air. There's not a lot of guys that have high strikeout potential today. And a lot of teams do project pretty well from a hitting perspective. So it's a very rough slate from that angle. I will say that pitching's a little bit cheaper today, and you can get some nice value pitching in the middle of the price ranges. So that's actually nice today. But man, is the bats just all over the place. So let's go ahead and get in the slate, though. Let me check the weather here for this slate. Let's see here. MLB weather. So we don't look like we have too many issues with weather today. Should be a pretty warm day for most of the games and have some nice weather for baseball today again, which is nice. We've had some nice weather this week, so that's at least a good thing. I don't like these big 10-game slates. I like 7 to 8 games the best. As for this slate overall, though, we do have we don't have any games in Cincinnati or in Colorado, so that helps. Colorado's at Atlanta, and Cincinnati's on the early. So let's go ahead and get into the slate here. We'll start with our pitching. So Imanga is our favorite pitcher today against Pittsburgh. He looks like he's solid and has some good strikeout potential today. He's got the best strikeout rate on the slate. That gives him some utility on this one. He's been pretty good lately. He's had a couple ups and downs, but he isn't giving up too many earned runs. As long as he can get at least 6 strikeouts, I think he'll be a great play on the slate. He is not the most expensive pitcher either, and he's not that expensive overall. I'm a little concerned that maybe he's going to start being on a little bit of a limit, but I don't think that's the case today. So he should be full complement of innings on this particular slate. Some other guys I do like are Morton for Atlanta against Colorado. Colorado's really had a rough time lately, and he's been pitching decently well. He doesn't have the highest of K rates today, but he does have the best matchup, so he's definitely worth a look here. He's been somewhat inconsistent, but he doesn't give up too much at home for the most part compared to on the road. So he's been pretty solid this season. He's been a little bit. I think he's in a decent place for today, and he's priced nice and fair, $8,200. Some other guys to consider: Darvish. Now he is coming off the injured list. He might be on a limit today, so do keep that in mind. But he does have a favorable matchup against Detroit, and he's got a pretty good strikeout rate if he can go, 5 or 6 innings here. So definitely worth a look. Ray for Milwaukee has an interesting matchup with St. Louis. So this is where it gets weird because he does have some nice extreme GPP opportunity here. He's got enough strikeout potential today to be viable. But I do like some St. Louis bats as well. So he's definitely somebody to consider. But he's high risk, high reward. Same goes for Sears for Oakland, who's got a favorable matchup in Seattle. Even though I do like some Seattle bats, and they are. Seattle's also kind of a chalky team today, so he's definitely in play, but he's definitely a little bit risky on the slate. As for the rest of the pitchers, we have a ton of boomer bust plays. Oh, I forgot to mention Gray for St. Louis against Milwaukee. He definitely has have some potential today, though he's been a little bit inconsistent recently, and his K rate is not super safe today, but he definitely has some potential on the slate. But I do like some Milwaukee bats there as well, so to keep that in mind. So a lot of boomer bust plays on this slate with Evaldi, Kirby, Lugo, Hoke, Gallen, Bobby Miller, Lively, and Birdsong. All those guys have just too low K rates today, and they've really had some struggles throughout the recent time, so they're just not guys that I love. The avoidable pitchers, though, German, Miguel, Montero, Stroman, Blaylock, and Canning. So do keep that in mind. But you could definitely pay down at this on this slate from pitching and get a mid-price pitcher for your second one to help you in the bats here. So let's look at our bats. Looking at the catching position today, we do like Will Smith quite a bit. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So Will Smith does look pretty good today. He's got some nice metrics today. Not the best for catchers. Catchers look decent today, but they don't look like must plays by a stretch of imagination. As for uh, other options at this position, Salvador Perez for Kansas City. He's kind of a one-off here. He does have good metrics today for hitting. He has struggled lately, though, so to keep that in mind. So a couple of value plays here. Logan O'Hoppe for the Angels. He looks fantastic today from a hitting perspective. Kind of has some home run potential as well, though he has been inconsistent recently. He does have good. He has pitched. He has played well against the Dodgers this season, though, and they're definitely a contrarian play. And then also the Atlanta catchers, whether it would be Travis d'Arnaud or Sean Murphy, both these guys do have some nice potential if they are in the starting lineup today, and I would definitely look at one of those guys as well. They will also be the top owned player, likely, along with Austin Wells and Will Smith. And then if on a kind of a Hail Mary opportunity here, uh, Fiduciary for the Dodgers. If he was to draw a start today, potentially he would have some utility as well. So, and he'd be dirt cheap and help you pay up other positions. Looking at first base, we do like Ohtani a lot today. His metrics are absolutely off the charts. He's obviously been phenomenal lately. He hadn't even hit a home run in the last 3 games, but he is very capable of that. And he's got stolen base upside, which he's been phenomenal. He's also been absolutely dominant against the Angels in the 3 games they played so far this year, with 2 home runs in those games. I look for him to hit a home run today. He is a top tier play. He is extremely expensive, but he definitely looks like a solid play today. Looking at Freddie Freeman, he also looks really good today. He's been hitting the ball pretty well lately, and he has some nice upside as a result. He definitely has home run upside as well. Matt Olson is a little bit cheaper than him, and he also fits into the home run or bust kind of situation here. He has played well against Colorado this season as well. And then a value play, Luis Arias for San Diego. He's just got really good hitting upside today. He has been hitting the ball very well, almost 10 fantasy points a game last 10 games, and he has that hitting metric that's just really good. So he's definitely somebody you have to consider on this slate. I don't necessarily think he'll get a stolen base again like he did yesterday, but he is in play on this one. Looking at the ownership, Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Justin Turner will be the top owned guys here. Looking at second base, we do like Andre Jimenez. Let's see. For Cleveland here. He's a nice value play today. He's been looking pretty good at times throughout the season for fantasy, and he looks solid again today. He's had some home runs recently too, which is nice, which is not really his MO, but because he's only got 7 on the season. But he does have some good hitting metrics on this slate. He's definitely worth a look. He's been hitting the ball better lately. Nolan Gorman also looking solid for St. Louis. Now, St. Louis does have a tough situation here against Ray, but they do project well as a team, and so I'm very interested in utilizing them in a couple lineups at the very least. And he's definitely in play here, but I actually like his teammate Donovan better with a home run upside, a little bit more home run upside here, and has been hitting the ball better lately, and he's got a favorable matchup as well. But the ownership at this position, Gavin Lux, Brandon Drury, Gleyber Torres, and Jorge Polanco, does not really fit with our projections. And this is where it kind of starts to diverge in these middle of the infield positions like second base, third base, and shortstop. Looking at third, we do like Rafael Devers. He's very expensive at $6,000. I don't think he's really worth throwing out there because he tends to be pretty streaky with his hitting. And in the last week, he's really struggled. So I'm not sure that once he starts hitting home runs again, though, he might go on a streak where he hits a bunch. So definitely kind of gearing for that. But he definitely hits a high risk, high reward situation. Now, Jazz Chisholm Jr. has been phenomenal as of late, and he has really good home run metrics today. He's definitely worth a look, and he is a core play for me because I just think this position is very weak. The top ownership here, Luis Urias, for Seattle, Nolan Arenado for St. Louis, and Josh Smith for Texas. And that's just kind of a rough situation all the way around. Third base is rough. Looking at shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. Does jump off the page at top overall play. I don't think he's a must play, but he definitely has some good metrics here. He couldn't hit a home run today. Corey Seager also looks interesting for Texas, though he's kind of a bit of a must play to me, as he does have that home run potential. And then Volpe for the Yankees also looks very interesting. He's really been in a weird spot because he seems to be hitting the ball well, but he's just had some bad luck with the hit, with where the ball goes. But he's still managing to put together good fantasy games, so I do like his upside on the slate. And then Tommy Edman, he is a cheap option for the Dodgers, who looks pretty good today. He has not hit a home run so far, but he does have good hitting metrics today, and he's got a favorable matchup, and his price is fair, and so he's definitely worth a look. He'll also be one of the top owned plays at this position, along with Josh Smith. Looking at outfielders, Michael Harris is a core play for me. He definitely draws good hitting metrics today and home run upside, so he's definitely somebody to consider here. But the top overall plays Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto. I think Ohtani and Judge both hit home runs today. Some other value options, Corbin Carroll. Well, I mean, he's not a value option, but he's cheaper than those other guys that I already mentioned here, and he looks like he's primed for another home run. He's been phenomenal lately with 5 home runs in his last 10 games. I look for him to continue that here. He's just had monster game after monster game. He's somebody I really want to try to roster at different places, but he's hard to. He was very close to being a core play for me. Julio Rodriguez, Michael Harris, Lars Nootbaar, and Jaron Duran all look like great plays, with Marcel Ozuna, Randy Arzonia, and Willier Abreu looking like good contrarian options. The ownership here: Ohtani, Harris, Tommy Edman, Jake McCarthy, Tommy Pham, Corbin Carroll. Then some secondary ownership: Willier Abreu, Randy Arzonia, Jaron Duran, Fernando Tatis, and Taylor Ward. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments,